media comes from. It is a new phenomenon, not necessarily that new, but new enough for it to be able to be seen as a platform that gives people at least instant communication, where you are able to communicate with somebody and be able to interact with those people and be able to get feedback on an instant basis, as opposed to back in the days where you would be written a letter and then you wait for it and give it to a bird, and then the dove has to go and then it delivers the letter. So social media sped that whole thing up. It said we can't wait for that long for us to be able to make a communication. So basically what social media was tapping into the technology that led to the instant, the blow that was the telecommunications through your usual old school landline, and that began to get into instant communication where people were able to call you from the other side and you could hear them on the other end. So this is basically the home and the origins of where social media comes from, in the sense that that particular instant communication where I'm able to talk to you like I'm doing right now was something that people wanted. The business people wanted to have something of that sort, and therefore this is how the birth of social media came about. Of course, it took quite a lot of evolution over time. I'm sure you're old enough to have been around in the early 2000s. If I bring it closer home, we almost sort of like, I think, blazed the trail as Botswana. There was a platform. It was social media early days called Idumela. That was a beautiful platform that I think Botswana didn't quite, I think, leverage on. But precisely, it was exactly that. I was outside the country at the time, studying at the university, and we were able to communicate at the time. But you know what? Instead of us being able to look and see that it was a platform that was meant, yes, indeed, to be social, and that was instant. Instead, it was used for very sort of like not so cool things, if I could put it like that. And then it lost the plot. But I think we could have been the ones in Botswana and a few other countries as well to have actually blazed the trail when it comes to social media instant messaging. So yeah, we were not too far, yet so far off as well.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I do remember. I do remember that platform. Yeah, we use social media. We are on social media, but many of us have never been educated around it. We see all the beautiful things on social media. We see some people building wealth on social media, but we also see the bad. We see people tarnishing their names, tarnishing their images. We see people killing their brands. We see people really destroying their reputation online. And this conversation we're having right now, I think it's timely. I think we really need to have conversations around this. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to inform themselves about this, because honestly, that all the beautiful things about social media, definitely there's a lot we can learn from there. So many times again, when we there's a comment here. She says, I was terrified to come near Idumela.
So they're old enough.
Oh yeah. Definitely. So many times when we talk, when we hear social media, many people think Facebook. Many people think Facebook. Can you just maybe highlight some of the common social media platforms that we use as Botswana mostly, and maybe some that are out there that we may not be aware of?
Yeah. Well, the social media is broad, Bonolo. It's quite broad. But of course, I think it does make sense why Botswana would naturally think social media. When you specifically talk about social media, you are necessarily talking about Facebook, and you're talking about Twitter, you're talking about Instagram, because those are the ones that are quite popular within the country. And it is not by chance. It is because people chose, that the market, they chose that they actually wanted and they preferred that particular type of of communication. So social media is quite broad. It goes way beyond Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it's a whole network, a network of other areas of interaction. Because at the base of social media is the fact that there is interaction. So there's quite a lot of other platforms that address different areas within social media, and these platforms, they are subsets of the social media network, in the sense that one would be able to be, for instance, let's give an example with the one that is quite popular in the country, which is Facebook, that it plugs into other aspects of social interaction. I'll give an example. For instance, there is an element where you can also use social media in terms of just it being a messaging platform and nothing more, nothing less. But of course, and then you've got other aspects where social media, you could combine a whole lot of other visual and audio to ensure that you give it a whole experience, exactly something that we are doing currently here. Or we are enjoying the pleasures of being able to be seen, the pleasures of being able to interact via text, which is instant, and also an audio that you are able to also have. Of course, even though there is a bit of a delay due to issues of technical networks, but basically that's what social media is about. You've got all these different layers of social media which perform different types of work, but by and large, all of them fall under social media because they have one thing in common, and that one thing in common is the ability to be able to instantly communicate and to instantly interact.
Awesome stuff. I think at this point, I want us to go for a quick break. Let me just welcome our viewers. I think that we had a bit of a technical glitch at the beginning of this broadcast. I apologize for that, but now we are well connected and we are able to see the comments. We're able to see who is here, and welcome. I'm always happy to see you. And my friend Tepo Pel Kamwanyan is saying, welcome back to our living space. Yeah, I like it when she says that, because that's exactly why we are here. A little escape really for all of us to be able to take that break, that much needed break sometimes, to just come here for fresh conversations. And yeah, so I'm very happy that she would look at it that way. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be back just now.
Life Skills Academy is an institution that offers coaching programs for children of ages 6 to 16 years. Now, there are life skills a child should learn by the age of 8 years. If not, the child may struggle as a teenager or adult. So give your child a lifetime gift by enrolling them for emotional intelligence, financial intelligence, and other life skills needed in the 21st century. For more information, call us on 7162-9362 or visit our Facebook page, Life Skills Academy.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for coming back and joining in this conversation. Thank you so much for your comments. Yeah, do tag someone, do share this conversation, and definitely your comments, would have a look at them. If you have a question for Obakeng is a brand strategist for close to 18 years or over 18 years or 18 years, that much experience. And it's his business to run even social media pages for his clients. And so we're going to learn quite a lot from him today, looking at social media for ourselves as individuals and for our businesses, for those who are in business or want to be in business. Obakeng, I want us to go now into social media etiquette. The reason we are here today, the topic of the day, social media etiquette. I would love for you to start off by reminding us what social media etiquette is and why social media etiquette, the importance of social media etiquette.
Well, getting that directly to it, social media etiquette is no different from social interactions as people outside these technologies. So basically, what it's talking about is talking about a set of guidelines that a company or individuals use to actually have, and preserve some level of reputation, and to be able to conduct some level of, respectful communication. So, as I say, it is no different from the kind of interaction that one would have outside technology. Now, it's just that with technology, with social media in particular, it is the fact that it can take quite a lot of different forms, in the sense that, people can have different personas or personalities that are online, right? Where you've got, for instance, the corporate side of you, where you've got the fun side of you, and then you've got the other pseudo side of you completely, which is your low, personality that you are pushing on the other side, maybe because either it's working for you in terms of business, or it's one of those things that you just pass time with. It's good in terms of just being able to just give you a bit of, psychological boost or whatever. So there's quite a lot of platforms. But now when we talk about social media etiquette, sometimes now this is where it's sort of like the lines get to be blurred, because when you get on social media, most of the times you don't even know quite the origins of those people that you're interacting with, unless it's people that you know in person. And there's some other people that you may not necessarily know in person. So that's where sometimes the lines get blurred. And then you find that when it comes to especially hot potato topics, and when people don't agree with maybe an angle, or however you may have pitched a certain thing, that's when it begins to bring into the lines down the issues of etiquette. Whether the person feels the need to be able to behave, basically it's about that. Social media, it's got nothing. It's no more than just a conduct of one, of a person online, basically. So that's basically it. So it's a question of, now we are interacting about a particular subject. Subject Y. Do I feel, that I'm interacting with my persona, that people know me as Obake Matlo on social media, or I'm this particular pseudo, and then therefore I feel, I disagree with Bonhana, and therefore instead of being courteous towards her, then I'll resort to a different persona, and with that particular persona, you'd have plugged into a different type of person, and therefore it accords you flexibility for you to be, even to, for lack of a better word, step out of a line of decorum, and we go into the realms of where now it can become either personal, it can become nasty, it can become troll, it can become all manner of other sort of like unpalatables. So etiquette addresses these issues and says, just the same way that you are able to know that you would like to respect Bonolo, you would like to respect Obaki, you would like to respect authority, you just would like to respect other people, so that you are known to be a very respectful person. That's exactly what you are expected on social media as well. Sometimes what I do, and sometimes when I talk about social media, in terms of the issues of etiquette and people being able to bend issues of social media etiquette, I liken to any product. I'll take an example, a car. A person who decided to come up with a car never planned in his million years of ideas, never planned that the car has to go there and kill people. But the car does kill people. So social media is exactly along those same lines. Your Mark Zuckerbergs and all the other guys who are into social media enterprise never planned that social media was going to be a platform where they would give people a voice to be nasty, a voice to abuse other people, a voice to bully other people. No, that's not their intentions, and this is why all of social media, at least in countries that are developed, have got privacy policies. They've got policies where you normally, even when you sign yourself as well, and you open an account, there are certain things that you are supposed to tick. Those terms and conditions that you normally tick and you never want to make time to actually read, they speak about issues of etiquette, how you're going to conduct yourself within that particular platform. But just because people want to advance a certain angle, they tick quickly and then they just get it done over with. And they only begin to realize and appreciate the issues of having to conduct yourself in a certain courteous manner when you are in trouble. And then they would begin, and then these social networks, they would say, "Oh well, but you signed up for it, by the way, when you were creating that particular, account." So social media etiquette is very key, and I hope for Botswana and other people who are also watching elsewhere to have a sense of appreciation of what it is.
Yeah, awesome stuff. It's interesting that you mentioned the different persona, especially the pseudo accounts. I used to watch Catfish. Catfish, and I would just look at people, someone who is broken. Most times it's someone who is broken, someone who is in a very bad space. They will create a certain character that they would love to be, and they are not, and they link up with people, they start dating people online, and that when you meet this person, it's none of what you thought they are, and it's a serious problem. And I think like you are saying, there will be people who create these accounts as an escape for them, and it's really people who are really down emotionally, people who are challenged and all that. So I know for sure this happens. I know I've had a few stories of ladies who've been catfished right here in our country. People who lost money because they found lovers online and they started dating online. One thing led to another. They end up sending them lots and lots of monies because they're applying for visas and all that. They're going to visit, or they're buying plane tickets to fly down to meet them, or they just love them so much that they bought them stuff, and this for them to receive the stuff, they must pop out some money. All that through social media. And yeah, definitely we need to talk about this. So you've already said, Obaken, that the inventors, or or Mark, they never intended for social media to destroy people. They were creating something for to help people connect much easier, and therefore there's definitely pros and cons for everything. So I want us to go in there and to look at the good and the bad. I know you've in your presentation here and there you touched on them, but I want us to really hammer them straight to talk about, to address the advantages of being on social media, using social media, and the disadvantage, so that those who are just joining us, they will also be able to benefit from this.
Yeah, social media is a great tool. It's a great tool in that it gives people the voice for them to be able to broadcast. You see, I wish to just quickly, as I run through some of the advantages of social media and why it's important to actually use social media. That social media, by the way, it's actually a broadcasting platform. It's just that it's a self-censored platform, okay? But it's just that it takes into consideration the fact that you would have obviously agreed to the terms and conditions as you were signing up for a particular social media network. So that's naturally the expectations. So therefore, when you talk about the issues of how one needs to be able to conduct themselves and within social media, one needs to be able to have a basic appreciation of certain things that one has to do within social media. Like for instance, there's basics about using social media. Because like I'm saying, it is actually a broadcasting platform. So no one is going to say you don't type anything and submit to Bonolo and say, oh, do you think that thing actually, it sounds okay and everything. Of course, there are some people who actually do that outside. Depending on whatever relationship that whether you're talking about something that you're going to be posting on a personal level or at a business level. So those platforms are different. But the bottom line is you have a platform where you can self-broadcast, where you self-censor. So the onus is on you to be able to appreciate the power that you are tapping into, which is social media. In that if you're not too careful, sometimes you might find yourself overexposed. But here is the beauty about social media. Social media, by and large, it gives you, like I was saying, it gives you a voice. In the fact that you are broadcasting to a whole huge platform. And this platform, you can easily quite reach a lot of people. I mean, like if you look at social media, and in particular, I give an example to Facebook. Facebook, you are plugging into over 1 billion users who would be able to, if you create a post right now, it doesn't just go to the people that you know. It goes to endless people and people that you never even thought that it would actually even reach. So within social media, there is all of these platforms that ultimately, your very broadcast gets to reach, but you never intended. And this is why it's important for you how you structure it, how you pitch it, so that at all times, at least whatever you are projecting is something that I think you would not be embarrassed, for lack of a better word, that somebody comes across it and they'll be saying, oh, is that Bonolo who may have posted that particular thing? So you want to be consistent. So if you are doing something, at least at the very least of using a true account. So if you're using a true account, which in this case, for instance, in my case, you're using Game Michael's account, you want to be true to yourself so that whatever people know you to be, then you definitely are consistent with that particular type of conduct or persona. Of course, the other thing is that you have different connections, obviously. You're speaking to different audiences. So the way you craft your message as well must take into consideration the kind of platforms that you are using. Are you communicating with religious people? Are you communicating with corporate people? Are you communicating with students? Are you communicating with politicians? Are you communicating with kids? So these are some things that when you craft your message within social media, you must take into consideration that you've got these different platforms that you are going to be reaching. So the question is, are you aware of those particular platforms that you are communicating with? So the next one is your content very organic? Are you true to what you want people to know you to be? Or you are projecting a pseudo persona? So those are some things that one needs to be able to know and be clear about what platform you want to use and what audience you are addressing. So it gives you all of those spaces for you to be able to communicate with different platforms and being able to broadcast whatever message that you want, whether you are talking about where you want to, because it gives you platforms for free access. And then you've got paid advertising, for instance, paid services where you are able to even reach an even bigger platform. And it depends on you how big you want your platform to be. If you want to build that particular persona, you want to build it into a form of brand. I mean, I'll give an example in Botswana. There's quite a lot of boom in recent times of a lot of personas that have blown over time. There was one particular of a lady, Maraba Chanaki, as an example, that blew so quick that by now is becoming a popular phenomenon that some of us relate to. The other ones, there's the comedians that we've got quite a lot of those. Your Juju Vines, we've got quite a lot of these personas that, sometimes you think that you want to meet that particular person. Only when you get in person, that's a different person altogether. It's a different person who is even more calm, more shy, more laid back, and everything. You sit there, you wonder, is this the same character that I always see online, being funny as hell? But look at them in real person. This is somebody who is just so laid back and even shy. So this is why I think social media, the etiquette is very important, and you just need to be able to appreciate the platform that you want to address and who your audiences are.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And I'm listening to you, Obi, and I'm thinking this is a lot. There's a lot I need to start, understanding more how to use social media, and my choices on social media, just how I want to be seen, and how what brand am I building, my brand and everything. And I'm just thinking about children. So can we talk a bit about social media and children? I mean, our children now, they use smartphones, they are on social media, they're on Facebook, Instagram, all that. And
Yeah.
adults, I mean, as adults, we still are not there, we still are not there. But so I'm just wondering how we teach our children about social media. What exactly do we say to them? And we saw recently, it's in South Africa, but I'm sure things are happening in our country. We probably don't cover all the stories, but recently we saw a young girl in South Africa who was assaulted, and one was taking a video, released it on social media, and the poor child just went in and committed suicide. A girl full of dreams, and she definitely didn't want to die. I was touched by her message when she said to the perpetrator that I hope you'll achieve the dreams I had for my mother. That really touched me. You could see right there that she didn't want to die, and this goes to also show just the impact, the mental impact on the impact of bullying on the mental health, Yaban. So can you say something about children and social media?
Yeah, I think it goes exactly what I was saying at the beginning of our chat. That you see, social media is no different. Social media, it is no different from the social interaction that we do outside technology. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is the way you would know that you are supposed to be courteous to the next person and you're supposed to just respect the next person, it is no different on social media. And therefore, we should also, now that you're talking about our kids now, as parents, we should be able to be on top of everyone, because the world that we are living in, it's obviously, we are living in a digital space, in a digital era, where whether you like it or not as a parent, you should be able to keep yourself abreast with the latest developments, and at least just have a basic appreciation of what, where the world is actually going with regards to issues of social media, so that you are able to be in a position to guide your kids and to be able to support them the same way that you do outside social media. I mean, I'll give an example. For instance, most of us as parents, we get to reach a stage where we have no choice, but we have to purchase the mobile phone so that we can make communication with our kids. For instance, if you take your kids to school, you take them for training also, so that maybe when you have to dash back to work and you have to go back and collect them, you can make that direct communication with them and say, hey, babe, I'm coming to pick you up. Now, what you don't realize right there is the fact that you bought a smartphone. You hand it over to the kid, and the kid, the chances are maybe he or she is a bit more sophisticated than you are when it comes to technology, because even their peers as well elsewhere, they interact, and therefore they get better. I mean, if you look at these kids, they're quite techno savvy. I mean, you take my kid right now, he's 4 years. I mean, the guy comes into the phone, into the computer. He doesn't even ask me anything. He gets in and punches the password. It's just that I've got a space where they operate, which has got like restrictions and everything else, just because I know what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to say is, you as parents, all of us as parents, we are supposed to be so much in touch with this particular aspect, because of the moment you just hand over a smartphone to a kid, you're opening up an opportunity for that child to be able to access Wi-Fi wherever they are, install a certain app that you may not necessarily know what it does and everything else. And this is why sometimes it's very important that you ensure that you pay particular attention every now and then. You check whatever it is that your child is actually doing, just so that at least you know that they're actually on the straight and narrow. So it's very important. I encourage parents that you may not necessarily, you don't have to be like us. You don't have to be a specialist in this particular area, but have basic understanding of social media, what technology that would be decent enough for your child to consume within either your phone or the phone that you'd have purchased for your child are all about. If you have that basic understanding, if you have to go even for basic crash courses, they are all out there. We do them, all of these things. Just go for a basic appreciation of those, those courses and everything else. By the time you go back, you'll be able to have a better hand of how you can handle that issue between your kids, so that if either your kids are abused or they are the ones who are abusing others, you know exactly how to handle the whole. But I think it all boils down to this. If we train our kids very well, they would also, on the issues of just being courteous to other people, etiquette would not be an issue, even on social media.
Awesome stuff. And I think we could have a whole discussion on social media and children, because there's just a whole lot. It's not just them having access to that, and being able to connect. It also stretches to them connecting with other people in different continents, and you think they're sleeping while they're actually chatting with people in other continents. You wake her up in the morning, they are tired because the whole night they were connected to friends elsewhere. And these things, some people are not genuine, like we said, and so they could have got themselves in trouble connecting with such people. So there's a whole lot. I think, Obi, I think it's time for us to talk about social media for business. I think we've touched on that. We talked more about really at individual level, the conduct and all that. Let's now look at the business side of things, which is what you do on a daily basis, social media and business. Yeah.
I think let's quickly just touch on that one. You see, businesses understand that you need to be within the people for you to be able to interact with them. And what better way to be able to be amongst people than using social media? If you want to access people right now, people are accessed these days via social media. Everybody, is very close to their phones, and everybody is reachable by just the fingertips. They're just basically there. So companies appreciate this, and therefore they also want to also be part and parcel of being of the bigger social media phenomenon. So this is why companies have online social or official social media platforms to still advance exactly what it is that they want, because with social media official pages for businesses, it gives you a platform for you to be able to get direct communication with your clients and your potential clients, and even bring about leads, business leads. So you would post something that is a bit more about your product and everything else. The beauty about social media is exactly that. You will get feedback which is instant, whether it's positive or negative feedback. But the fact of the matter is you would be able to actually get feedback. And this is exactly something that I think had been lacking in businesses, and enterprises began to see that, social media needs to be embraced as part and parcel of our business, because that's when you get to see what people think about you as a business, what people think about your product, and how best you can improve your product, whether or not your product is actually good. Because sometimes as people, we can patronize you. But you see, when you throw it in the public domain, you'll get to see a proper feedback where you are able to, as a business, be able to take it back, go back as a team, have a look at what it is that people were saying about your product that you said, go and review it, represent it back to the people, and you've got feedback. So the beauty about it is that it can go either way. It can go and boost your business. But at the same time, we should not shy away from the fact that as a business people as well, as business as well, using social media for business as well, you open up yourself for embarrassment. You could be humiliated.
Yeah.
You could be exposed about so many other things. So these aspects, they coexist. It is not just one-sided. But of course, by and large, if you are an organization and you know that you stick to your values, your principles, and you are true to what it is that you do about your product, you will not have difficulty to be able to, in an event that, for instance, your product or your company is being dragged in the mud, you'd be able to nip that in the bud, and you are, you are understood within the platform that you, by the audience that you're trying to communicate with. So I encourage businesses because that's where people are, and you want to be where people are so that you are able to interact with people in a more instant fashion.
Awesome, awesome. So this is beautiful, Obake. This is beautiful. I'm learning quite a lot from this conversation. So I just want to ask you questions that will just be coming through as we are talking, and we'll definitely look at questions from our viewers here. But I'm thinking about a situation where I tarnished my name on social media. How do I how do I recover from that? How do I, a friend of mine we were doing research at some point, and her research topic was on social media. And one of her findings shocked me that, social media, it can be the biggest stressor ever. Because on social media is such a perfect world. Nobody posts anything ugly on social media. People are capturing the best moments, the most beautiful pictures. Some people go to an extent of, I saw one video. You'd think this person is in an aircraft when they actually are not. There was just holding something and there was some sound like it's an aircraft. And someone could be looking at that and saying, "Oh, we gotta get class 95 or 94, whatever." And this guy is flying, he's on top of his world and everything. So if I mess up my name on social media, how do I recover from that? You mentioned something very important earlier to say when you post, you don't only post for your friends, for your people in your network only. If it's public, it's public, and I think I've seen those options that you could post public or to your circle of like your friends. Facebook, I'm talking about Facebook in this instance. I must yeah. So your post could reach someone in Ukraine, someone in DRC Congo, someone who is not even in your continent. How do I then fix that? How do I fix that?
Well, social media, the thing about it is we are talking about reputation now. It's important to also appreciate, in particular, when you get into social media, the moment you started, you build an audience, understand your audience very well. You must be able to understand your audience so that you are in a position to be able to communicate something that you know that it is of value to your audience. But you see, if you have crafted a type of audience, and then on any particular day, from out of the blue, then you post something that is just strange, then you're opening up yourself up for even attack. You're opening yourself up for trolls. You're opening yourself up for embarrassment, for being challenged, for being told that you're not something that you claim that you are not. So it's very important for you to be able to appreciate that you are in a certain platform. And that particular platform, there is a level of consistency. And that consistency, it directly relates to the kind of person that you are, your grasp of where you are and what it is that you want to achieve. Every one of us have gotten into a situation where it's a bit messy, where you said something that you would rather not have said. And maybe people bring it from a different angle and you feel, I don't think I should have exactly said something like that. For me, I always say honesty is the best policy, okay? If you have done something wrong and you feel, and people are making you, they're impressing upon you that, I think you got it wrong there, Obi. I can just go back, reflect, and then come back to them and say, I think indeed you are spot on there. And sometimes without arguing with the, with the point of view that, I think you got it wrong. If you are able to just concede, sometimes it tends to die off quite quicker than when you come and say, it's nonsense. I don't think that I did exactly that. So stuff you. So I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead and post whatever I posted. So what you're doing is you are giving the people even more ammunition for them to come back at you. So sometimes it's quicker to just nip it in the bud by just being able to concede and being able to just move on to the next episode about life.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, let me now look at our viewers' comments here. Michael is asking here. Okay, let me read his comment. Mr. Obi, I'm in a dilemma here of best way to brand between a live video and a recorded video. I hope you get me. Do you get the question?
Come again.
He's saying he's in a dilemma of best way to brand between a live video and a recorded video.
Okay. Yeah, I do get it.
Okay, so that's number one. And then somebody also saying here, we are to embrace social media for business. Are we supposed to design company policies for managing social media? So those are the two questions that you could address.
Okay, let's start with the first. Let's start with the first one. It's your choice. I mean, it depends what it is that you want. You want instant communication, because if you're doing instant communication online, obviously you're going to get exactly the feedback that we are getting right now. The questions that you just read, that's exactly what we are looking to achieve, isn't it? With this particular show. But of course, you can do what in other platforms, what is called premiering, basically where you do something in a pre-recorded manner, so that you have a bit of a full control over whatever that gets said. You can edit and get out with certain things, because you are controlling content in the manner that you think you are quite happy with. And only when you are happy, that's when you release. Of course, it depends on what it is that you want to achieve. Do you want to achieve it as more of a communication and just saying to people, this is just understand what it is that we are talking about here as a product that is just basically there, or you want an interactive session where people are able to even give you feedback. So honestly, it depends on the objective of whatever it is. But with both the live and the pre-recorded, there's basically no difference in terms of if you've got people who know what they're doing and you've got people with the technical know-how. They would still be able to assist you to be able to achieve whatever you're achieving, both live and pre-recorded. So you can achieve both in the same manner. Whether you're talking about graphics on the screen, whether you're talking about being able to interact, adverts as you go through, and so many other things. So all of these things depends on your team and your technical know-how. Now, the other point that is being brought up with the issues of should companies be able to draft their own basically terms and conditions of how people should interact. Of course, that's the most basic of requirement. I mean, that's why even I don't know whether a lot of people actually in Botswana know that we've got a cyber policy in Botswana, where you can even, for whatever you post on social media, you could even be convicted with whatever you post on social media and elsewhere. Basically, for as long as something is broadcast out there, you can be convicted with that particular thing, or you could be indicted at least, and be pursued by law with whatever you have posted. And this is why it's important for companies to have the privacy policies and to have the terms and conditions and ensure that those are as public as they can. So that when I interact with either your website, for instance, the website falls outside social media because it's not social media. But I just wanted to just touch that so that I make a quick distinction about that. But basically, what you would do for your website and other platforms, such as for instance, there's some people who use external platforms within the companies that are custom for businesses, and those are those that are internal. So those platforms as well, you must have terms and conditions about them. But people who are using them, they must be able to understand what they're bringing themselves into. Because if I don't have those terms, then it means it's open-ended. Then I can do as I please. Even if I veer off, then you don't have any basis to say, oh, hey, why are you doing something like that? So indeed, yes, all the companies must be able to have the terms and conditions and privacy policies and broadcast them in public so that they are accessible to anyone who wishes to interact with the organization's official pages.
Awesome stuff. Right there, you talked about the cyber law. I'm just thinking about just how people would, I think because the law is not really enforced, I don't know why, we don't see a lot of people punished for their bad on social media in our country. But we've heard of, cases here and there. And I think because, it's here and there, people really don't understand, the extent of this, how problematic this can get. One of the things that I've realized is people are sharing content. We have WhatsApp groups, OB, and someone will share, graphic, content, no disclaimer, nothing. And they just, oh my God, and will just get traumatized. Some of us who don't want to see such will be traumatized. And, in my WhatsApp groups, I've said to everyone, you put a disclaimer. If you're going to share something that can actually disturb, someone, please put a disclaimer. And I know of people who've been traumatized by, these videos that will be circulating, like a maid hitting a child so badly, and people get traumatized by this. But Obi, there's a problem, because people don't think they are a part of this whole thing by just sharing that. If you are sharing this content, then you also are playing a part in this.
Well, absolutely. You are also complicit. I mean, I think this is exactly what the law says as well, by the cyber law that we've got in Botswana as well. That's what the Act says. That you could be, let's assume that Bonolo is being, is facing, criminal charges for having done or said something on social media, and you also have shared it. You are complicit to some extent, even though less so, but you are complicit, and therefore it's important for people at the very least to understand ground rules, to understand what it is that you need to be able to be upfront. Even on social, when you talk about social media, by the way, you're also including WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is part of social media, but a different platform, of course. So even in the WhatsApp groups as well, you must be able to have basic rules. Normally in your spaces where they've got descriptions, you should be able to define some of the rules and some of the terms and conditions of how you expect that particular group to actually conduct themselves, and all the members how they should conduct themselves. And you should constantly be able to remind members on the conduct and the decorum that they are supposed to embrace within that particular platform. So it is no different whether you are on Facebook, Instagram, or whichever platform that you prefer. You must always be alive to what the terms and conditions are, because not knowing, Bonolo, is not enough excuse. This is why even in law, you can do something and you get arrested or charged for it, not knowing that something was actually a breach of the law is not an excuse for you not to be charged.
Yeah, definitely. So I think as people, next time you feel obliged to share content that for sure would not sit well with the next person, just ask yourself, why do you feel compelled to share such content? Why? What are your reasons? I mean, sometimes it's stuff we could learn from, but I mean, if it's something traumatizing, if I'll pick trauma before I pick a lesson, I don't want to see that thing. I don't want to see it.
On the issue of trauma, I mean, quite recently, just about last week, in fact, talking about you sharing a content that can traumatize you. There was in one of the WhatsApp groups that I was part of. Somebody shared something that I felt was traumatic, where people were just being murdered mercilessly. And you know what? When somebody complained and said, "Oh, by the way, that's too graphic and everything else," the person said, "No. So you think you are supposed? Why are you guys acting like cowards? Because this thing can happen, so you must know about it." And I sat there. I said, people should learn to be considerate of others. So exactly the point that you're bringing up, to be able to at least forewarn people and say, put a disclaimer and say, by the way, this thing that I'm just about to share might be too graphic, so watch it at your own risk. So these are some things that are important, that they need to be enforced and to be respected within all social media platforms, whether it's WhatsApp, Facebook, and you name it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff right there. But again, thank you so much for that. And I think our viewers are also learning something from this. And, I think something that I want to just repeat what you mentioned is when it comes to children, it's our responsibility as parents. And so if we don't empower ourselves, if we don't learn, we will not be able to teach our children, and it can be very, very dangerous for them to be using social media with no etiquette, nothing, no understanding of what it is. So thank you so much, Obi. I would like for you to say your last word, and as you do so, please also share with us what Dikosi Media, your company, is doing. What services are you offering?
All right, thank you so much. I think in closing briefly, social media is here to stay. I remember not so long ago, I actually wanted to craft a post on on Facebook, where I said to people that I had backed up quite a lot of my stuff, my photographs and my family stuff, and especially university days. There was a platform called MySpace back in the days. It has since gone into oblivion, but it had my stuff. It had my stuff, so I've lost quite a lot of stuff. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say social media is here to stay, but not necessarily that the companies that you are currently using right now may necessarily be here to stay and stand the test of time. Some of them, might fold, and you get new other companies. So the point that I'm trying to say is because we use social media as well as part and parcel of being able to save our stuff so that we can see it at a later stage, maybe 10, 20 years down the line. Maybe 20 years down the line, that company might not be there anymore. So what you might want to do that is, even if you do have memories that you want to keep online as well, keep some hard copies. Whether you're using a disk, you're using a memory card or whatever, so that at least you've got something, or you put it online in cloud or whatever. Back up in multiple platforms so that you are able to know that you don't lose your data. So it's very important. But by and large, anything that is online is here to stay. Since the advent of internet in, I think, around 1972 thereabout, because that's where the internet came about. It was a product that was developed by the US Army, and this is what we are able to actually use right now. We use the internet. It's a beautiful invention. So as you can see, it comes from way back, way before we were even born. So it's going to be here to stay. It's just going to keep on getting better and better. So you as the viewer out there, familiarize yourself with where the world is actually going. Get online. Don't be afraid. There's small courses that people do, crash courses, to go and familiarize yourself with. Don't be shy. Brush yourself so that you know what your kids are doing out there, what other people are doing out there. You'll get better with practice. But briefly, with the Kosi Media, we are a consultancy that deals with all matters that have to do with branding. Whether you're talking about something as humble as beginning to design your logo, to all manner of executions, whether you're talking about coming up with your brand manual, your brand identity, and executing all your marketing and advertising executions. So that's what it would do for you, including social media, including your animation, including being able to do what we call usability. You look at your advertising, marketing, and communication strategy. Whatever is executed out there, does it work? Does it serve the purpose that you had initially intended for? We'll give you feedback, and we can improve on the designs and everything else that your potential clients and your clients come into contact with your brand. So this is where we come in. We make sure that you are constantly represented in the most professional of manners out there as you interact with your clients and your potential clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How do people contact you for your services?
People can contact me, very much accessible on social media. There is a page called Kosi Media. Look for it online. It's there. We just temporarily have disabled the website because we are doing some magic on it. When it comes back, it's going to be bad. So watch out for it. The website, we're just zhuzhing it up a bit. And also, you can contact me as well on 72670048, or you can send us an email on info@thekosimedia.co.bw, and we will be happy to engage you further.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Obi. Thank you for taking time to talk to us. I really, really appreciate.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Good evening, that is. All right. Social media, social media. Oh, dear listeners, viewers, everyone, please do get down to, information about social media. Raise your level of awareness of this tool and just see what can come out of it. What are your intentions about it and all that? So I hope that you learned something today. Thank you so much for staying up to the end. Thank you for being here, your comments, everything. If you want to advertise here, please inbox us, Bonolo Speaks. If you want an interview in my broadcast studio, inbox me. And definitely the feedback, your suggestions, keep them coming. I really, really appreciate every communication from your side. Thank you, thank you, thank you once again. Remember, nothing just happens. Do whatever it takes to achieve whatever you set out to achieve. Thank you so much. So long.
Life Skills Academy is an institution that offers coaching programs for children of ages 6 to 16 years. Now, there are life skills a child should learn by the age of 8 years. If not, the child may struggle as a teenager or adult. So give your child a lifetime gift by enrolling them for emotional intelligence, financial intelligence, and other life skills needed in the 21st century. For more information, call us on 7162-9362 or visit our Facebook page, Life Skills Academy.